Żary, the green forest which is located next to the city and the UNESCO World Geopark Mużakowa, because it will be a story about them, are unique places. Each of them has a rich history and is closely related to each other. Żary received city rights in 1260. Since then, they have changed owners and national affiliations over the centuries. The city has often struggled with the adversity, rebuilding itself and became stronger, but its inhabitants could always feel confident and call it their home. Situated on the border between Poland and Germany, the UNESCO World Geopark Mużakowa is located several kilometers from Żary. In 2015, it obtained the status of a UNESCO World Geopark, and in 2016, readers of National Geographic Traveler hailed it as the miracle of Poland. These are the southwest areas of the Lubuskie Voivodeship, and on the German side, the eastern ends of Brandenburg and Saxony. The characteristic shape of this geological form, a horseshoe open to the north, 40 kilometers long and 3 to 5 kilometers wide, the central part of which is separated by the terrace valley of the Nysa Łużycka. It was formed about 300,000 years ago, during the Central Polish glaciation era. This is a trace of glacial and terminal moraine activity. The glacier coming from Scandinavia piled up the area. This folding is clearly visible on topographic maps, aerial and satellite photos. As he moved, he discovered layers of brown coal, ceramic clay, glass sands, and building material, and exactly according to that way we will follow through the area of the arch itself and the adjacent region, Żary and green forest. These lands attracted the first settlers with the lush forests rich in game and fruit. Till this day, archaeologists find traces of the Lusatian culture, which you can learn more about it in the Museum of Silesian Lusatian Borderland in Żary, the city from which we begin our journey. In the capital of Polish Lusatia, as Żary is often called, we can find traces of the effects of the glaciation in the oldest city buildings. The glacier had brought a huge amount of erratic boulders, easy to extract and especially strong building material, shaped the development of this area. In the foundations of the Church of St. Peter and Paul, the Church of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, the palace and castle complex, as well as the offensive walls, there are stones that were carved by a terminal moraine of the glacier. Currently, the city is a kind of a gate leading to Mużakowa, providing tourists with a complete infrastructure. The tongue of the same glacier that formed Muskau Arch piled this area to a height of 227 meters above sea level. This is the highest point of Lubuskie province, Góra Żarska. Today's green forest is also known as Żarski Forest. Deep summer woods, springs and gorges are also traces of its activities. The green forest has become an excellent hunting ground for the owners of Żary, the Provenets. They built a forest castle here, which the shape of it we only know from the engravings. There is still a road leading to the place where it was located, with two majestic oaks welcoming us. In 1864, a 60-meter-high observation tower was built, partly made of stones brought by a post-glacial moraine. On a clear day, standing on the observation deck, we can see the Karkonosze Mountains on the horizon. The second oldest building in the Green Forest is the Bismarck Tower. Construction began on April 1, 1914. In a result of the outbreak of World War I, the work was stopped and never finished. The tower is about 25 meters high. The ease of exploitation of coal, sands and ceramic clays contributed to the increased settlement of the areas surrounding Żary, as well as the development of industry. Underground workings, smoke, escaping from them and sometimes even flames stimulated the imagination. This is where the legend of the basilisk in Żary was born, a fire-breathing creature that devoured people. Today we can see his miniature bathing at the well in the market square in Żary. Nature wiped out the traces of human activity. The sound of birds and the sound of the wind have replaced the screeching of machines. Strolling through the green forest, following the market trail, we often tread the old transport roads. The trace of the excavations in the Mary III is an embankment running from the southwest to the northeast. The remains of mining shafts are fragments of the brick lining of their inlets, the bases of hosting machines and the brick bases on the mining structure. Looking at the overgrown body of water, we can see the remains of open-cast workings. Walking or cycling, we can feel the richness of geological forms on our own skin. The area is largely undulating. Thanks to that, has ideal conditions for training for professional athletes and amateurs. Within the forest, there is the Syrena Stadium and the Źródlana Sports and Recreation Complex. From the height of the chimneys, we can see the elevation of the area, Wzniesienie Żarskie, shaped by a glacier that was in Mirostowice Dolne, a village belonging to the Żary commune. That there were abundant deposits of Miocene clay, which were a good raw material for the production of building materials. During operation, the plant produced approximately 12,000 pieces of bricks per hour. Characteristic construction, ceramics and yellow clinker bricks today can be seen on the facades of nearby houses. And the anthropogenic signs are the small surrounding lakes, which we will mention later. We move to the eastern end of the arch, to the town Trzebie. Several times it was completely destroyed, but it was always rebuilt. The symbol of it can be the revitalized market square, the heart of this town. The remains of the Żarska Gate Tower are evidence of the city's turbulent history. It is also worth visiting the place of execution, with the remains of the well gallows from the 16th century and the Devil's Stone. We head towards the middle of the arch to the two neighboring villages, Łęknica and Bad Muskau. Here you can also see the industrial plants perfectly. Lignite was mined using the underground and open-cast methods. The mining industry functioned here from the beginning of the 19th century for the first two of the 20th century. The numerous post-mining depressions of the site, there are about 300 of them, of which about 100 on the Polish side, are a visible trace of human activity and guarantees an anthropogenic lake district on the European scale. The water in the bodies of water sparkles with a riot of colors. Lignite colored the waters to brown and red, clays to all shades of green, while the glass sand to blue. The Geopark former Babin mine introduces tourists to the essence of this area. The several-kilometer-long road leads through the former mining area, from Łęknica to the village of Nowe Czaple. Looking from the lookout tower, it's hard to believe that 100 years ago, this place was dusty, grey and lifeless. The anthropogenic lake district is not the only visible sign of mining history. Around the largest reservoir, Africa, called because of the shape, there are plenty of post-mining dumping ground and the heaps resembling the surface of the moon. The exploited underground workings collapsed and filled with water. It was similar with open-cast workings. In combination with the dumps of excavated rocks and the natural topography, they have created a unique landscape. The cultural and educational center of the Mużakowa Geopark was established in Łęknica, which promotes knowledge about the Mużakowa. The UNESCO object is located in Bad Muskau. It's the Hermann von Pückler castle, who was the founder of the Muskau Park. At the time, it was the most beautiful and largest garden. Till today, the garden impresses both tourist and landscape architecture specialists. It is considered a masterpiece of 19th century garden art. Near the Muskau Park there is another, likewise charming and distinctive one, the Rhododendron Park in Kromlau. It attracts not only rhododendron lovers but also fans of a unique structure, the Rakots Bridge, also known as the Devil's Bridge. It was built in 1860 from basalt stones brought from Upper Lusatia and the Czech Republic. Now we are on the western edge of the Muskau Arc, in the village of Klein Kurzig. In a former brickyard which operated from 1892 to the 1960s, yellow clinker bricks were fired in the Hoffman Kiln. Currently, there is a headquarters at the Geopark Muskau Arc. The building itself and the ceramic kiln are unique technical monuments preserved in very good condition. The culmination of our trip will be entering the tower at Lake Felixsee. It's the area of the former lignite mine, which was closed in 1930. The tower itself at Lake Felixsee is 36 meters high. It's opened to the public in 2004. From it, you can see the entire turquoise Lake Felixsee and the surrounding area. The trip along the Muskau Arch is a great source of geology knowledge. There's also the soul-pleasing views and the closeness of nature. It's also a reflection on how man and nature transforms the world. The Muskau Arch is an example that if we work together with nature, it will bring good results.